it just kind of shows the progression from the before me to the now me. So I'll just start it here and you guys can hand it around. And, you know, I do have notes because, by golly, it is a long weekend and there's a lot of talking going on and everything flew out of my head when Jennifer talked. Thanks. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
Anyway, in that room, I'm Gastric Bypass Barbie. But in this room, I'm just Carrie, and I'm just a patient like all of you guys who happen to have bariatric surgery and then happen to have reconstructive surgery afterwards, put it back together. Now, let me start by saying something that a lot of you guys already know. When you weigh 316 pounds, there's not a lot you can do, and there's even more that you won't do. And, you know, I don't want to say that my before life was miserable, because it wasn't that bad. But now that I'm living the afterlife, I realize my before life was one big limitation. I mean, it was a series of things I couldn't do and things I wouldn't do. I mean, I couldn't fit in a restaurant booth. I had to find the table. And I didn't want to go into a litany, a big discussion about why, because I kind of maybe always didn't look as big. So the restaurant people would look at me kind of funny, like, why do you need that? But, you know, when I sat in all my fat, right? And it would expand right at the table. So I couldn't sit in a booth, and I had to have a chair that I could either expand out through the arms in, or that had no arms, okay? I could not fit in the small bathroom stall, because once I got in there, how was the door going to clear? And then I've got the toilet paper dispenser here and the toilet, and you're like straddling the toilet, right? So you always hope to God that it's either a one-seater, big room you can land a plane in, or you hope that you can get in the disabled stall. I couldn't ride a bike because my butt ate the seat. I mean, it was just not a pretty picture from the back, okay? I could not wear heels. And anyone who knows me knows that I must have heels. And they make your legs look better, right? But I couldn't wear them because I just had, it was like drilling for oil with every step, so I just could not do that. I couldn't walk around the block. Maybe I could have, but by the time I got back, my feet were going to be bleeding on the bottom, and I was going to have paid a heavy price for it, and I was going to hate every step. And talk about things I wouldn't do. There's a lot of people that say, take me as I am, I got a wingspan, you know, get over it, and they wear sleeveless tops. Not me. I was like, Jennifer, I need to cover it. I was very self-conscious. I would die of heat stroke before I would wear a sleeveless top. And the other thing is I wouldn't pick something up off the floor. I mean, it got to the point, and it didn't occur to me until much later, if it was on the floor, it was going to stay there. It was so weird. Now I'm like, hey, let me pick that up, woo, you know, and you got to bend down and do it. It's very exciting. So life was full of things you can't do and things you won't do. And you know, I cried a lot of tears, because I was fat, and I could not do the things that normal people do. And I didn't want to get my hopes up and somehow dream that I'd be able to do normal things someday, because what if the dream didn't come true? And then something amazing happened, and I had gastric bypass surgery in December of '07. And miraculously, magically, there was no little voice in my head telling me what I couldn't do anymore. There was no voice saying, you don't belong here, you're fat, you don't fit in, you shouldn't even try that. There was just this voice, this calm voice saying, you're normal now. I lost 170 pounds, and I gained an entirely new person. But we're not here to talk about that, right? We are here to talk about loose skin. That stuff that you're left with after you lose a lot of weight, all that dangly stuff that you swear you're not going to have. And then when you have it, you swear you're going to be okay with it. I was just one big shrinkle. And, you know, I was trying to be okay with it. I was like, I'll be okay, I can manage. You know, and it wasn't my husband, God love him, he was so supportive. But you know, you can hide the stomach. You can hide the thighs. But like Jennifer was saying, you can't hide the arms. They're out there for the world. My arms, I was a size 4, so my arms looked like they belonged to a size 14 person. It was just wrong, and people would tell me, those arms don't look like they belong on your body. Hey, thanks. So, you know, what really made the decision for me that I needed to do something was on our wedding anniversary. It was like our 19th anniversary, and we were having a nice romantic time in the jacuzzi. And something started floating to the surface. And it was what was left of my breasts floating on the surface. Let me tell you, way to kill the mood, number one. Okay. Once we stopped laughing, see, he's still laughing about it because it is such a visual. Once we stopped laughing about it, we kind of went, surgery? Yeah, probably so. So, you know, because I'm young, I'm like, we have a long time ahead of us. I do not need to be having tube socks and golf balls staying for the rest of my life. So, and I have to tell you, I was totally anti-plastic surgery. And even further away from silicone. I'm like, you know what? Deal with it. God gave it to you, deal with it. But my stuff deflated. What God gave me deflated. So we had to do something about it. So once we came to terms with the fact that we were going to do this thing, then I went to find a surgeon. I need to find a good surgeon. And it has to be someone who understands extra skin for bariatric surgery. It cannot be Dr. 90210. Let me give you a little mommy tummy tuck overnight, whatever. It's got to be someone who knows what he's doing. So I went to obesityhelp.com. And they have this really neat search tool, find a surgeon. Okay, I type it in, like 7 come up in my area. And I went right for the one that has the most reviews, naturally. At the time, mind you, this is like 2 years ago, Dr. Katzen had 157. He was the #1 guy. #2 had 7. I'm not kidding. There was that big a disparity, and it went down from there. Some people didn't even have reviews. So I said, all right, I need to do my due diligence. As excited as I am to see Dr. #1, I should go see Dr. #2. There must be something valid there. So I did, and I liked Dr. #2. I was pretty sold on Dr. #2, and like some strange events had happened where my consult, I had to change it with Dr. K, and I'm like, you know, maybe I'll just go with this doctor. And then I saw him at the Walk from Obesity. And I was like, oh, hey, I had an appointment with you. And then he started like popping up places, and I went, okay, I get the message. Apparently, I'm supposed to see Dr. Katzen. Clearly, I think you guys know I did go with #1, for a reason, and he is #1 for a reason. Now, maybe it's the fluffy terry cloth robes that you get in the consult room, but I felt all warm and fuzzy after I met with him. I call him Dr. Cat Zen. He knows that, Dr. Zen. And I was not even worried about being naked. The minute I got in there, like all that stuff that you worry about, oh my God, I don't want to put, the minute you're there, like, now what can you do for me? You're like standing there, hey! And he's showing you. He pulled my arms up. Your arms will look like this. Really? And the girls will look like this. No way, really? I mean, it was fabulous. I could see myself. And he wasn't guessing. He believed. He absolutely believed that he could do this for me, and I totally believed in him. So, I had my brachioplasty 1 year ago on the 26th of February, and this is where I am today. Yay. And my scars look pretty good, and I too had to have a revision because I had what I call Popeye arms, because I have these little stick arms now, and I was like all pumped for a while there too. So we kind of extended my incisions further down. The average bear stops here, but mine do go further down, and that's a consideration that you have to make. So we did this in 2 parts. So the second part here was done in May. So there's a little bit longer, but you can see already how good the scars look even now, and they're just fading even more and more. And we had the girls done at the same time. And I'm not going to lie to you, I have fibromyalgia. So for me, pain is really challenging, and it's far more extreme than it really should be. But thank God for Dr. Katzen, because he was very patient. And he just kept telling me, you're going to be okay. You will get back to the gym. You will be able to use your arms. You will love your boobs. They will not look like bolt-on parts, I promise. You will. And he just kept calmly reassuring me. And you know what? He was absolutely right. And I really do love my arms. And you know what? I was so proud to go to work. I had my compression garments, and people would say, what are those? Well, it was very exciting. And I did not hide my scars. Because, like Jennifer said, it's a badge of honor. It is like a trail of how far I've come. I don't worry about them. And every once in a while, some weirdo will comment, wow, gnarly scars, dude, how'd that happen? But that was my Tai Chi teacher. Nice. Okay, but that's very rare. And I just tell them what happened, I didn't. So, anyway, no one suspects a thing about my boobs. They all think they're natural. They don't even think they're fake. And they just think I'm incredibly well built, which I am. So, anyway, when you think about getting a bariatric surgeon, what you're looking for is the guy with the best success rate. You're looking for a bariatric surgeon who doesn't kill you. And then you're not looking about a long-term relationship. You're saying, make me thin. So that's your bariatric surgeon. But when you're looking for a reconstructive surgeon, you're looking for the one that has the gift. And all you can think about is the long-term relationship. You are looking for the one who's going to make you perfect. Well, I'm here to tell you, my bariatric surgeon helped make me thin, but my plastic surgeon made me perfect. And I am perfectly happy with it.